Good evening. Hi, it's Valerie Milano, the senior editor of the Hollywood Times. And I'm so happy to have my guest tonight. And I'm going to let him introduce himself since he knows himself better than I do.
Thanks, Valerie. My name is Narbe Mansourian, and among other things, I am an 11-time world champion at the bench press in my weight class, and I also hold many world records in several federations.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I know Narbe for many years now in all facets, so many. He's very special to me. So we're just going to go on with the interview now. Thank you again, Narbe, for taking your time to talk to us tonight. Um, so you were born in Paris, France. Can you tell me about your upbringing a little bit?
Yes, so I was born in Paris. My parents, to rewind, are ethnic Armenian, as I am. They were born and raised in Iran. There's a big Armenian population in Iran. After they got married, they decided to move to Europe to travel there and to uh, go to school there. And they went to university in Paris, and that's where I was born.
I just Paris. So do you speak French?
Yes, it was actually my first language in concurrence with Armenian. Armenian was spoken at home, and French was spoken at my daycare. And so to this day, I still speak it. I read about 5 or 6 French novels a day. I mean, not a day, a year. And just to kind of upkeep my French, listen to French music, read French news on a daily basis, just so that I can I can be on top of it.
And how did you end up moving to Los Angeles?
Well, after my first 2 years in France, we moved back to Iran. And where I went to an Armenian school there, I learned how to read and write Armenian. I learned how to read and write and speak Farsi, which is what they speak in Iran. And after a few years there, it was during the 1980s, where it was during the Iran-Iraq war, where there were bombings back and forth. So the situation was not very good. So we moved back to France. After a couple of years in France, we decided to move to Los Angeles, where I had a lot of family members here. There's a big Armenian population in LA. And so that's how I ended up in LA.
So I don't think your parents or at least your father's still alive, right?
Right. So my biological father was a dissident of the regime in Iran back then, and he was captured. And after almost a year in political prison, he was executed. And so after a couple of years after his death, my mother and I decided to move back to France. My mom remarried to a wonderful man who took me in as his son. As a byproduct of that marriage, I also had a younger brother who's now one of my best friends. And then we moved on like that. And then we came here, just started our new life here. And yeah, so it just goes to show you can't have all the, as they say, all the flowers in a garden. Some wilt, but others grow. I love my stepdad, but also love and miss my biological dad.
In what ways did your father's death affect you? How did it shape your life?
Well, such a traumatic event at age 7. I used to go and visit him, spend long hours to go visit him behind a glass just for 10 minutes. And then my mother would try to convince the guards that I was only 4 years old, whereas I was a very short 6 or 7 year old. We had this game when we were in France where she would say, "Look, you're 4 years old," and which basically meant that she didn't want to pay for the bus fare. So I had to make myself small. She said, "Look, so let's play the same exact game over here." So it was a fun game to me. Now I look back and it was just a way for me to see him physically. His strength in prison and that of my mother really gave me strength to be the person that I am now and to be able to see things from a different perspective, from a no nonsense approach in life, and really, really enjoy have a joie de vivre, as the French say, towards life, just to want to make it count and to really give this, we have one go at this in life, and I want to be able to live for myself, but also for the likes of my father, who died at a very young age.
Mhm. Did you find it challenging to integrate yourself into the American culture? What tools did you use to aid you?
Yeah, so yes and no. It was challenging, of course, because it was a brand new continent. But by that time, I was living in the third continent. I felt like, in hindsight, I was battle tested. English became my fourth language. I had to integrate into the American lifestyle, but I had this drive to not only learn English, but to master the English language. So I would record my own voice, hear my own accent, compare it to that of others, listen to the likes of Laker great Chick Hearn, or Dodger broadcaster Vin Scully, and really, really try to imitate their vocabulary. Read the sports pages on a daily basis. So I had this drive to be able to assimilate and to really integrate myself in the American culture.
So to change gears here a little bit, did you always have a passion for sports?
Yes, I did. From the time I was little, I was a very active child. I loved watching sports. I loved playing sports. I love imitating my athletic heroes. And I always knew that I had something in me. I was never necessarily the best kid on my team, but I was always the hardest working. I always strive to be the fastest. I always, wanted to hustle. And that translated on the soccer field as well as the rugby field. And in college, my rugby coach said, listen, you need to work on your upper body. You're fast, but you keep getting knocked around. So they custom made some sort of workout regimen that included the bench press. And I famously asked what the bench press is. And long story short, I went from just, benching the bar to an exponential ascent, as I call it. Within about a year or so, I was putting over 300 pounds, looking the way I do now, not gaining too much weight. So I knew there was something special going on there.
Point in your weightlifting journey, did you actually, did you actualize your talent? Did you know you'd be a champion?
No, I didn't know I'd be a champion. Initially, it was just like a fun college gimmick. I was 19 years old when I started this. It was like, oh, look, it's a little guy, blah, blah, blah. And it was in the local newspaper, and the local, I went to Occidental College newspaper. But it wasn't until a couple of years afterwards, I'd already graduated college, where one of the managers at the gym gave me this flyer for Venice Beach. Said, hey, go to Muscle Beach, go try this out. And everything back then, year 2000 was manual. I said, okay. So I went over there and I got second place. So, okay. Then from there, I got more invites, and where initially it was just regional tournaments, then state, then national, then world. It was just surreal. That's allowed me to travel to countless cities in the United States, almost every single US state, in so many different countries. It's just been an amazing, amazing journey, one that I feel like it's someone else's movie. In the same way that I feel like it's someone else's movie, what happened to me when I was a child. So it's absolutely surreal in many ways.
So besides weightlifting, what else are you into?
Well, I'm a linguist. I love learning languages. I speak five, and it's not about learning languages, but it's also about upkeeping them on a regular basis. You have to upkeep them, just like going to the gym on a regular basis, or playing an instrument on a regular basis, or if you are a black belt in something, you can't just rest on your laurels and say, okay, I'm done. You have to keep on doing it. I just love pushing myself and challenging myself to learn new things. And languages is one of the things that I really love doing. What else do I love to do? I love to coach. I love to coach soccer, not about the fact that I'm passionate about soccer, but about transmitting what I know to the kids, but also making sports a metaphor for life for my players. And my experience as a teacher in the classroom comes into play in conveying my message to my players.
So, what advice would you give young people that have faced similar life change challenges?
Stay the course, trust the process. It gets better. Um, look for signs. My experience is not going to be just like someone else's, but always look for some of the positives. It enriches your life without even you realizing it. Now I feel like I enjoy my life more so than maybe the person next to me, because of all the things that have happened to me in the past. So you can turn around and be a teacher and be a mentor, because I do also realize that my life could have gone completely sideways. I do know peers who went through the same trauma that I did in terms of, seeing war up close or having their loved ones die, as victims of cruelties against humanity. And they either didn't make it or they continue going a certain darker path. So I would encourage the young ones that they could use this as a gift and turn it around and to help others.
How, you've lived a full life and you're still so young. What more you want to say to our viewers, our readers? But how can they connect with you? I mean, are you on social media? Do you have a website? Do you teach classes in linguistics, or do you have, or do you coach? Do you have trainings? How
Yeah,
can they reach you?
right. So in different times of my life, I've done all that. I've trained, I've taught, and so there's only so much time I have, so I kind of balance them out, and take them in and out of my life. But if anybody wants to reach me, the easiest way would be on my Instagram, Narbe1212, NARBE 1212. That'd be the easiest way, and then we can connect from there.
Excellent. Good. Well, as you know, we are the Hollywood Times today, and our YouTube is the Hollywood Times Official. Do you want to tell us anything else about yourself?
Well, I'm humbled that I get to do this interview with you, Valerie. The viewers don't know that I also taught both of your children, so we have a
Yes.
long relationship with your family. Uh,
Yes.
but no, that's about it. If anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm more than happy to share my story to help them.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. And I can't tell our viewers, our readers enough about you. Please look up Narbe because he's got such a rich history, and um, I wish I could say more, but unless you look him up, you won't be able to know more because he's such an amazing man. So thank you, Narbe, for all your time
Thank
today,
you, Valerie.
tonight.
Pleasure is mine. Okay.
Thanks so much. All right. Can't wait to see you again.
Awesome. Yes, for sure.
Have a good evening.
Goodbye, Val.